Hey, hi, hello. My name is Chainlink and welcome to a new video. Now, before I continue, I just seriously want to thank you guys for being such an amazing, small community. With, at the time recording, 15 subscribers. That is, to me, a pretty decent milestone. Now, for some of you that may not seem a lot, but to me that means 15 of you thought my content was worthy enough for a subscribe, which is awesome, and I'm so happy that I could bring you guys entertainment. So, Marvel Rivals. This game has been taking the industry by storm. Well, the multiplayer one that is, and of course the internet as well. But I'm here to tell you that there isn't much to its success, in a good way. A good question that people ask all the time is, why does this game do so well when it's so new and it's by a new company that hasn't really had a lot of space in the gaming and multiplayer industry? But I want to tell you that there isn't a lot to it. And as a matter of fact, it's so basic that if these other multiplayer companies listened and took advice from these guys, it would seriously change the way these games work. And before I go any further, let me explain how Marvel Rivals works, as I feel it's important as I move forward. Marvel Rivals is a team-based 6v6 PvP shooter with Marvel IP. Like I said, it's pretty basic, and it's very similar to how Overwatch plays as well. Now, there are 3 categories you play as, and these categories are Vanguard, Duelist, and Strategist. Now, Vanguards are your tank characters who have a lot of health and do a lot of damage, but they do have low mobility. This makes it so you have to plan out your attacks and also rely on your teammates, as in, you can't just go in balls blazing hoping that you don't die, because you're usually the front man. Sometimes. Now, these characters are Hulk, Captain America, Doctor Strange, Magneto, Venom, Thor, Groot, Penny Parker, and the newest character in the Vanguard roster, The Thing. Now, the next category is Duelist. Now, these guys are a good all-arounder. Decent health, decent damage, and decent mobility. But that's all there is to them. There isn't a whole lot behind these characters. Yes, they have a bunch of unique powers and abilities, but you still gotta be able to use your teammates, both Vanguard and Strategist, and able to help you win the battle. Unless you lurk. You stalk. Hey. But these characters are Black Panther, Black Widow, Hawkeye, Hela, Iron Fist, Iron Man, Magic, Moon Knight, Namor, Psylocke, Scarlet Witch, Spider-Man, Squirrel Girl, Star-Lord, Storm, Wolverine, Punisher, Winter Soldier, the Human Torch, and Mr. Fantastic. That, if you can probably tell, a lot of the duelists make up this game, which hopefully as the game goes on we'll get more. So next up are strategists, and these are your healers. These poor, feeble, fragile characters have extremely poor health and damage. However, they also have high mobility and, of course, the ability to heal. Now, the high mobility is so that if you need to escape during high-risk situations, like if you're Jeff the Shark and getting absolutely brutally then, you should still use it. Now, these characters are, like I said before, Jeff the Shark, Luna Snow, Mantis, Cloak and Dagger, Invisible Woman, Rocket Raccoon, Loki, and Adam the Warlock. Now, that's all you need to know. And like I said before, all of these characters have their own play styles, and also there's other ways you can attack, like some characters have melee, like Spider-Man, Iron Fist, or Magic, while some have shooter abilities, like Squirrel Girl, Moon Knight, and even Star-Lord. So, now that we have you guys acquainted with the game, the question remains, after all that, what makes Marvel Rivals so good? Well, for starters, the devs actually care for the game and its players. Actually listening to the community and what they have to say, whether it's a small game fix or even if a character needs a slight adjustment. Compare this with other games like Call of Duty, where it takes a while for sometimes an entire season just for a bug to be fixed, and 90% of the time, the only reason why it's fixed is because the pros complain. And on top of that, the other reason why it's fixed is because it breaks the game. This also goes the same for games like Apex and Overwatch too. People complain about characters or events and they do nothing about it until the big guys complain, aka the pros, or the people that they rely on to bring them the money for the game. As well as the excellent anti-cheater protection. I swear, the people here who do, like the main Marvel Rivals, seriously did an amazing job with this, where you can report them pretty much for throwing a game. No joke. You can report them for throwing a game. So if you get upset about that, no problem, chat, because they're here for you and they will fix it. Now, take this with Call of Duty, where it takes 3 to 4 business days, not literally, but just saying, to report the cheater, have the request be finalized, and then be blocked from the servers. But unfortunately, at that point, it's already too late. Now, of course, they have the anti-cheat system Ricochet that they are very proud of. However, it does Bun's job at doing anything and leaving these motherfuckers in my lobby. So, now the other thing too that is really interesting is the microtransactions are very small in this game, which to me and to a lot of people is a fresh breath of air to, any other multiplayer game, whether it's a BR game or just a regular straight up multiplayer game, making it so that you don't have to pay $20 for a skin or a battle pass if you really don't want to. But their way around this is really genius, because they're doing what most multiplayer games and companies like Activision and EA are afraid to do. They allow you to grind for any currency in-game. This system works very, very well because it encourages people to keep playing the game, to keep grinding. And the grind is actually enjoyable with all the characters you have at your exposure. The challenges are fairly easy and they're not that hard to complete. And as well as not having any characters behind a paywall, similar to another game. To mention that they don't have like rapid fire bundles, as in like every 1 or 2 months, even if that, you get one bundle that has a skin, a nameplate, and literally everything else that has customizable options in Marvel Rivals. Meanwhile, games like Call of Duty and maybe sometimes Apex and any other game either rehash an original idea that was already made, an old skin that was already made, and they just rehash the idea, or it is pretty obvious AI generation that they either inspire or just straight up copied off of it and then just straight up put it on sale. Now, this also connects to as well, it's not just the bundles, but it's also the beautiful art design and the beautiful mix of 3D and comic art that just perfectly make the Marvel Universe sit really well in this new game that they have. And, well, yes, those are great. Most people who usually play Overwatch and other multiplayer games, just believe that the game's success is purely due to the IP of the game, which is such a cheap cop-out, in my opinion. As going back to my last video, Multiverses had huge characters like Batman, Bugs Bunny, Finn and Jake, Steven Universe, and even LeBron, my sunshine and my king. But it didn't do good, well, regardless of the characters that are in it. And the reason for that is, like I said in the last video, is because those guys never listened. They had an intense paywall, and a lot of their characters were locked behind said paywall, making it just extremely difficult to even consider playing the game in the first place. And it's highly, highly unfortunate. Of course, like I said, the IP is big. It is a big thing. The IP is a good selling point, but it is such a cheap cop-out. If you think about it, the first Overwatch did wonders. It did great. People love that game. So using the same logic that, oh, well, it's just the IP, wouldn't that also mean that Overwatch 2 should have done well due to the fact that it's connected to Overwatch? It just doesn't really make sense to me. And the other reason why too is they're doing smart things with the IP. As in, it's in the Marvel Universe, so therefore they can literally just make any other Marvel character that's in the Marvel Universe into the game. There's no bounds and no limits to what they could possibly do with it. Well, I think you get the gist. But the real reason why this game has done so well at the end of the day is a good game development company. One who saw what's been happening to the multiplayer space and learned from it. And not to mention they've made a new FPS game similar to CSGO and Valorant that has spectacular reviews already. And this is their first, like I said, their first FPS game to ever really be put on the market, and it's already doing wonders. Even the people who said, it'll be gone in just a month. Well, just goes to show that a little care does go a long way. But I hope I can bring you guys some awesome entertainment. Please like and subscribe for more content like this, and I'll catch you on the other side of the fence. Later.